हरे कृष्ण ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्याञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणविचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यं पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we'll try to understand what Lord Kapila has to share. So, and what Prabhupada has to share in this purports. We have discussed quite a few points here, and we will just see one two revision of it. And what we discussed here, when one is completely cleansed of impurities of lust and greed produced from the false identification of body as I and bodily possessions of mind, one's mind becomes purified. In that pure state, he transcends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress. Then we discussed how this identification is the main problem. And then in this we have discussed putting heart means the impurity is because of selfishness. That's why we are not able to put our heart. So chitta means the heart, and that need to be clean. And a selfless heart will have love. And everyone always desires to possess something. Identification of oneself with the body. This is actually what we are. And then this mind and consciousness also become freed and attain original state when we are. That is the original state. That means what happens is the contamination is slowly removed when we are doing bhakti, and our ego reduces the false identifications. It is said here that desire and greed are the products of false identification of oneself with God. And when one becomes free from this contamination, then his mind and consciousness also become freed and attain their original state. So, in original state, we have our mind. Mind and consciousness of living entity exist in original state also. Whenever we speak of living entity, it includes mind and consciousness. The difference between conditioned life and liberated life occurs when we purify the mind and consciousness. That means they are there, but in a purified state. So that is the main difference. Now also we have, that time also in the spiritual world also we have. But here it is contaminated, there it is in a pure state. So that is the main difference. When they are purified, one becomes transcendental to material happiness and distress. So here in the beginning, Lord Kapila said that perfect yogi enables one to transcend the platform of material desires and happiness. How this can be done is explained here. One has to purify his mind and kind. He is not removing the mind and consciousness. You see, they are only purifying them. That means they are always there. This can be done by Bhakti Yoga system. And next he says that at the time the soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size. This is the most important thing that happens, that we are able to see ourselves. We are able to see the reality. So we have discussed the 5 ways of perceiving a reality. I have taken 2 sessions, and of course I didn't complete, but you some of you have attended. So there we have discussed and how to perceive reality, different. So what happens is the soul, it is able to see the difference. you know we are seeing what mind is seeing, it's a mirror. All the reflection is what we are thinking we are. But when we start the when the theater, the lights are off and then the projector is off, then we can see ourselves. Otherwise, we are identifying ourselves with the movie. So similarly, when all the impressions they are gone, then there is no light only on the screen. So if people are sitting in the theater and all these people are watching the movie, so now there is no image, and the projector, no, which is sending the light on the screen projector is off. Now what happens? These people who are watching this movie, so then they will not able to identify this anymore. So this is compared to the impressions. So then what happens? Then we don't see this movie. Then we see this. This becomes very clean. This image, this mirror. This mirror is our actually chitta. So then at the time, soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size. So it can see himself because there's no projection, there are no sanskaras, there are no impressions. That is not coming only. Now you are able to see ourselves. Prabhupada read, in the stage of pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one can see himself as minute particle, non-different from the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Jiva, or the individual soul is eternally part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Just as sun's rays are minute particles of the brilliant constitution of sun, so a living entity is a minute particle of Supreme Spirit. The individual soul and the Supreme Lord are not separated as in material differentiation. This is very important. There is no difference. The individual soul is particle from the very beginning. One should not think that because the individual soul is a particle, it is fragmented from the whole spirit. Mayavadi philosophies initiates that the whole spirit exists, but a part of it, which is called the jiva, is entrapped by illusion. This philosophy, however, is unacceptable because spirit cannot be divided like a fragment of matter. So here the logic what Prabhupada is telling is spirit cannot be divided. This is the most important logic we have against Madhavas, that spirit cannot be there. The jiva is eternal, it cannot be, and that's what Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that the spirit soul cannot be divided. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dadit pavaka, nachainam klediyantyapo. So if the spirit cannot be divided, how we are individual, separate persons? So how the Brahman has become fragment? That is not possible. The Jiva particle is estimated in the Vedic literature to be 1/10,000 the size of the upper portion of hair. It is therefore infinitesimal. The Supreme Spirit is infinite, but the living entity or the individual soul is infinitesimal, although it is not different in quality from the Supreme Spirit. Now, here, Prabhupada read, the two words in this verse are to be particularly noted. One is Nirantaram, which means non different, or of the same quality. The individual soul is also expressed here as Animanam. Animanam means infinitesimal. The Supreme Spirit is all pervading, but the very Spirit spark is individual soul. So Akhanditam means not exactly fragmented, but constitutionally always infinitesimal. So no one can separate the molecular particle of sunshine from the sun, but at the same time, it is separate also. That's what he is telling. So basically, he's telling what happens when a person gets self-realization. So the answer he is giving is what is the result of practicing bhakti. That is actually what is described in this. Like if you are revelated, what I am going to get. Liberation here means we can say it may be confusing. Liberation means it is more of self-realization. So what happens in self-realization, how we are able to see ourselves. So in that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation and devotional service, One sees everything in right perspective, he becomes indifferent to material existence, and the material acts less powerful upon him. So now, what Lord Kapila is doing, he is glorifying the process. He want Mother Devati to understand what exactly is happening. He didn't tell what it is. He is glorifying it more. So this is actually the position of self-realization. And here both the things are there. Knowledge is there, renunciation is there in devotional service. So one able to see in right perspective. Like what is right perspective? Na? Here, how can we say that now what I am seeing is not right perspective? I am everything seeing in front of me. Why it is not right perspective? Why not right now? Sorry. Because our because of the impressions in our chitta. Now this they will make us bias. Like say now I am seeing a mango. Immediately I have a liking for mango. What does it mean? That means this is because of the impressions I got about mango. Now if I am seeing a Karela, no, some bitter gourd. Now I may not like it. That is also because of impressions. Now whether mango and bitter gourd uh, or Karela, is it bad or good? So So it is bad or good? No, it is not bad, it is not good. It is based on what? It is based on the impressions. What type of impressions I have based on that. Somebody has a very bad experience. He had eaten very katta first time when he's eating. He had very bad smelling and bad tasting mango. Then every time he looks mango, he will have a bad impression. So it is not, it's based on impression. That's why we don't have right perspective now. Our perspective is it is defiled. Now I have certain emotions for somebody. I like some party. I like some person in the politics around all these things. So it is all related to the impressions I have about him. So Prabhupada writes also this. As a contamination of the germs of a particular disease can influence a weaker person, similar, the influence of metal nature or illusionary energy can act on the weaker or conditioned soul, but not on the liberated soul. Now, contamination, like what is this? This is some influence of metal nature. It is affecting weaker person, can act on a weaker or a conditioned soul. So, acting where it is acting, basically it is acting on the mind. Where this is acting, acts on mind or chitta. You're understanding? So it is not acting on body. Of course, it acts on body, but more it is acting on the mind. We are getting more and but in this case, a liberated soul, why it is not acting on him? Because his chitta is already pure. So now nothing will influence him. Say for a liberated person, he comes in front of a mango or he comes in front of a bitter gourd. For him, both are same only. There's no impression. So it cannot affect him. Self-realization is a possession of a liberated stage. One understands his constitutional position by knowledge and vairagya, renunciation. Without knowledge, one cannot have realization. So this is also very important. We need to knowledge, one cannot have realization. Very important. We need to gain knowledge every day. The realization that one is in the infinitesimal part and parcel of Supreme Spirit makes him unattached to material conditional life. That is the beginning of devotional service. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, one cannot engage himself in devotional service of the Lord. So, without now, one cannot have realization, and realization that one is an infinitesimal part. Now, like, like now, after I came to know that I am servant of Krishna, I started acting like that. That means what happened? We are getting some realization. Yes, Bhakti is highest. So we got Jnana. Therefore, it is stated, Jnana Vairagya Yukta, when one is in full knowledge of one's constitutional. So here, knowledge is what knowledge? Knowledge of one's constitutional position. It's not like dry knowledge of impersonalist. And in the renounced of life, detached from the material attachment. So this is not, this is devotional knowledge. So this is devotional knowledge. It is about Krishna. Then the influence of materialism become almost nil. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhusta Prasannatma. When one is self-realized, he becomes happy and free from influence of materialism. At that time, he is free from lamentation and hankering. In that position, the Lord states, one begins real devotional service. Mad bhaktim labate param. So this is also confirmed. And the next sloka says, perfection in self-relation cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. But there is only auspicious path. So this is also very important. So here he says that no, no,